Hey there, gamers. Welcome back to Cryptic Gaming. I hope you guys been having a wonderful week. So we have Requiem of the Lost out and had a few messages asking how exactly do you beat this thing. So I want to go over some of those basic uh, battle strategies with you guys. So first off, you're going to want to make sure that you got a ship that's built for this, and you can use any ship that you want. I think I put a video out using the Sloop of War last night and been using the Frigate today. So we'll just kind of show you what we've got here. Right now I'm currently in my Frigate, and like I said, you can use this build with any ship really, because what you're looking at is you want to have the Little Grace 3 as your auxiliary weapon. I did this one because you do have those two auxiliary ports here on the large ships versus the medium ships, but you can use either or. So and then of course on our weapons, this is where it starts to change out. So what that does is the Little Grace 3, it removes the debuff or the buff that you can't actually do any damage unless you're using a healing weapon. So that's going to drop that first initial protective layer. But then he has a brace that's almost freaking insane. But you can get through that pretty quick with poison. So what I'm using is I'm using these heliports here. I went ahead and got the blueprint on this stuff last night, and I was using the Sloop of War to begin with. But like I said, we put the noxious, amplified, toxic, amplified burning on this stuff, and that's what we're currently running. And then of course we run that on the bow, both broadsides, running the fire and Covering 3, moved it to the back for now. Little Grace 2, I didn't see building a fourth heliport because, I mean, it's only 2 slots on that things. But Little Grace 3, like I say, build it how you want. I think this one here's just got, let's see what we've got on this thing here. We've got something called the Empower, Tranquility, and Reinforcer. Like I said, I just jumped through. I didn't actually take the time to build it into anything. I just needed the healing weapon to get rid of that buff that he carries on that thing. So that's what I would recommend doing. As far as the armor, I'm just running the Ouroboros, and then of course the furnitures and stuff is the same furniture I've been running to build fire barrels. We've got Plague Bringer's Ward because we've added that poison on there as well. This is going to reduce that reload time of weapons, of the toxic weapons. Putting that toxic perk on the heliport turns that into a toxic weapon, so it actually makes it reload pretty quick, which is pretty nice. So Ramrod Workshop, Devil's Concoction, this is going to help with that burning weapon because we put an amplified burning on our weapons there. Trunnion Furnace, helping to spread that fire and poison around. And then Sticky Fuel Station to help get that ablaze effect going. Now, you don't have to have the ablaze effect going for that particular ship. This is just the overall build that I've got on this ship here, but this seems to work really well. Same thing with our Sloop of War. I'm going to go ahead and jump over that real quick and show you guys what I'm currently using on that thing for this Requiem of the Lost. And I'm going to hop off here and get back to grinding. A lot of great stuff. So for those of you in Banished Souls, if you're still looking for your heliports, I can now build those. I've got the blueprint, so let me know if you're looking for them. And I'm sure we can work out some sort of trade agreement on that stuff. Let's see here. Ship loadouts. There we go. Okay, so on the weapons here, we're using the Thunder Dragon on the front and the Rot Mouse on the broadsides. And again, that Thunder Dragon, we have added that noxious perk to it, or the there it is, noxious perk, amplified, toxic, and then lethal. And then of course on our Rot Mouse, we got that amplified, toxic, the lethal, and incendiary on there as well. Then using the Bombard 3 on the back, we've got again toxic on that, and then fire on that. And then I went with the I was using the Little Grace 3 on it as well. I've just been switching it between it. But typically I use the LeFleur on this thing because it does boost all those poison weapons. But like I said, you could throw in a Little Grace 3. That's going to help get rid of that initial thing. A lot of people are wanting to switch over to heal weapons, like maybe for a bow, but then you're actually losing a weapon port. So you can actually roll your ship around. And especially that Frigate build that I showed you, that thing just pops off. It's such a fast reload. You can just fire off of one broadside and off one side, and that thing almost never has to reload, maybe a split second in there. Or you can roll it around from left to right and just fire across the bow and both broadsides and really put out a lot of damage. So that's kind of what I've been doing with this event, guys. Just keep the Little Grace going. Like I say, I used the large ship. I was using the Sloop War, which is a lot of fun, but I switched over to my Frigate build. The main reason I switched over to my Frigate build was simply because I wanted to have double buoys. Because what ends up happening, it never fails. You will end up being in the middle of your battle here, and someone will show up to help. But what will end up happening is they end up destroying the buoy the entire time. So then half the time you are sitting there waiting for the ability to do a buoy. They didn't bring any healing weapons, things like that. This way you're covered, guys. This is going to help cover you on that aspect. Help take care of any mishaps that can happen. If you've ran this event, you probably have seen where there'll be like 10, 15 people piled into the event. It's really hard to get a shot in and stuff. That's fine when it's like that. Just stick around and get your shot. But understand, whenever you see all of those little blue bells pop up, no one starts running that, there's another one that spawns right down here. And no one ever fights him. I run him solo all the time. That's how you end up getting double the points. You just, when they're spawning this one up, come up, run it for free. Whenever these bells pop up, go ahead and run that hourly. When he spawns in, jump in and run it. I don't even bother with the bells anymore. Actually, I just look see if people are running. If they are, I'll get to a fast travel location. I'll usually come over here, run my Unbound Reaper, and wait for the end of the hour or the end of that night phase. Whenever this one here will then suddenly spawn in after they complete the destroying the ships on the base. It'll spawn this one automatically. You don't use a buoy for the southern one, and you can actually just take and run him. So we're going to show you a little video of that, guys. But like I say, I prefer the Frigate on this just because you have the double auxiliary ports. It's not that it's a better ship. It's not that the other ship's bad. It's just what I'm currently preferring now. Everyone has their own preferred builds out there, so I do recommend that you check and see what you can find, guys, and we'll catch you later.